Hi, my name is Karina, and I'm with Sonder Spirit. And today I want to talk about spiritual experiences and any experience really that's unexplained. So paranormal, intuitive, spiritual, whatever you want to label it. And I feel like it's really important to talk about because, yeah, it's gotten better over the years, just in the time that I've been alive. But I feel like there's still that level of shame about talking about something that you just can't explain. Like, I don't have all the answers, so I'm just not going to say anything. And I want to stop with that. I want to share all my experiences, and I want to share a few today that I have, including one that just happened today. So I just wanted to start off by saying how important it is that we share. Because if you think about it, if we didn't share anything about ourselves, like, where would we be? We would have no way to communicate because we would have no words to describe what we're experiencing. Like, we need to talk about this stuff in order to, like, keep growing upon it, if that makes sense. Like, first it started with, like, the paranormal. I feel like that's, like, the baseline, and then we can start talking about, like, intuition and signs from the universe, and it just keeps growing on top of each other. So, there's that. Okay, so the first story I have to share happened when I was like, I want to say like 16, and I was getting ready for school in my bedroom, and how my bedroom is set up, there was a bookcase on my right and a mirror in front of me, and I had my contacts on the ledge of the top of the bookcase, okay? And I'm just done twisting closed my contact case because I just put my contacts in, and the contact case started going like this, like kind of like walking toward the edge. I was not touching it. I was just staring at it, and it was just going like this, just like that. And it was maybe like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the fifth was about to fall off the bookcase, and I grabbed it and put it back. And as soon as I stopped touching it, it did it again. And I put it back, and then it started doing it again. This is the third time, and I'm like, no. I literally said no. And then it stopped. So this was around the time where I was watching Ghostbusters, and my heart was beating so fast. I was trying to debunk it because, like, it's just a regular bookcase. Nothing, it's all just wood. I checked below it. I checked behind it. I checked for hair. Like, maybe I was pulling, maybe it was like a hair underneath, right? The case, and it was like pulling it somehow. Like, maybe I was losing control of my arm. I didn't see it. I don't know. I tried to find everything that could possibly make this plastic contact case move like that. Could not find it. I still don't know what that was. I didn't feel malicious. It felt playful. I have no idea. But that was my first, like, paranormal experience. Maybe my only paranormal experience. Everything else I have to share is more other spiritual or intuitive. But yeah, that was the first one that I remember. I'm sure I had some in my childhood before that. I just don't remember. So the next one was at camp. So I go to camp every year. We're in cabins with cots or, beds. And the cabin I was in at the time, it was like 17, 18 years old, I think. Somewhere around there. And I'm sleeping on a twin. In my memory, it was kind of a smaller twin, but it doesn't really matter. So I'm sleeping on a twin. It's in the morning, when you're half awake, half asleep that time. And I have my eyes closed, and I suddenly get this thought voice in my head that says, "I'm sorry, but I have to wake you up now." And I come awake naturally. Like, I'm not like awake. I'm just like, oh, I'm awake. And I come to find that I am on the edge of the bed, like just a little bit of my weight moving forward would have tossed me out of the bed, hit my head. I would have hit my head on the nightstand next to me. So I was like, oh, all right, I'm just gonna move over, and I'm just like, I'm tired. So I had my eyes closed and I'm about to fall back asleep, and then my eyes spring open. I'm like, what the fuck was that? And this is all in my head. And I'm like, hello, who are you? Who are you? Why are you still here? And I didn't get an answer. But I want to explain this term, thought voice. It's my own term, because I just don't know how else to explain it. But like, some people apparently don't have this. They don't have a thought voice in their head. But I do. So like, if you close your eyes right now and think in your mind, white elephant, white elephant, white elephant, white elephant. Like, you can hear your own thought voice, right? Not hear with your ears, but like your inner, like your mind's eyes, your mind's ears. So I know what my own thought voice sounds like, and this entity, whatever it was, says, I am sorry, but I have to wake you up now. Or was it, I'm sorry? I think it was, I'm sorry, I have to wake you up now. It was not mine. It was not my thought voice. It came out of nowhere. There was no origin, thought. It just popped in. I had no gender, had no accent. I really had no idea. But because it was, But because it was protecting me from hitting my head, I think it was some type of guardian of mine for protecting me, guardian angel, whatever you want to call it, because I would have really hurt myself. So that was my second experience. That's one of my favorites, because I'm like, that was so very much that's not my own thought voice, and it just was very, very distinct. Like, I'm sorry, I have to wake you up now. Like, okay. Anyways. So the next one is, I consider my best example of receiving a sign from the universe. I feel like signs from the universe are just so, what am I talking about? Globally known. We just call it all different things, but like, I think in our culture, like the sign of the cardinal, like if a cardinal comes to visit you, it's like the sign of a loved one visiting you. I feel like that's like probably the most common example of a sign. And I just really like them because they're very interactive. And if you ask for a sign and then you just kind of forget about it, it will come, they will send you it back to you. They will come to you. And this is an example of that. So my story goes, I'm living in Binghamton, New York, and we are looking into moving back home to Syracuse, New York. And we are looking at the apartment complex we used to live in, and it's just a little over budget. And I was like, do I really want to do this? Is this the best move? Should we go for this? And I'm like, all right, I need a sign from the universe that this is like the right path. So I'm like, all right, just send me a cardinal. And this is like around Christmas time, like right after Christmas. And right where I live in Binghamton, there wasn't a lot of cardinals. Like, it was winter, but it wasn't a lot. And I chose that sign because it's something that, draws my eye, being either if it's male or female. The female has like a orange beak, I think, and then the male's bright red. So I'm like, I will notice. I always look for birds, so I'll notice a bird. So I'm like, okay, send me a cardinal. I believe it was the next day or the day after, I'm at my friend's house, and she's with her parents, living with her parents, and her mom's a crafter, and she pulls out this, like a quilt that you would hang on the wall, like that, but it's small, it's much smaller, and she just presents it to me. It's like, look at this one I'm making for my friend, and there's a giant cardinal on it. Giant cardinal, like 12 by 12. I don't really know, but it felt like really big. I was screaming internally. Like, oh my God. So I tell universe, spirit, whatever, all the time that I am very oblivious. I need signs right in my face frequently, and they delivered. So right in my face. So I'm like, okay, I am going back to my apartment complex that I was at before. It's the right move. Doing it. So that's the funniest example, I think. And then today, well, let me backtrack. Another time I asked for a sign, I asked for dimes because I don't see dimes a lot. You know, you see pennies, you see maybe nickel, but I don't see a lot of dimes. So I'm like, just send me a dime. And here I was thinking that I'm going to see a physical dime, like on the road or wherever. No, I get a picture of dimes. I'm in like a few spiritual communities, and someone posted a picture of like a bunch of dimes she found in her like laundry or something. And I'm like, okay. And this was like 7 to 10 days after I asked for one. So it could take time to get a sign. The point is to pick a sign that will make you pause and be like, oh, interesting. So that's why I got the dimes. That's why I asked for dimes. Another thing you can do is ask for signs from past loved ones. So I can't think of like exact examples, but I do remember this past winter my grandpa passed away, and he had Alzheimer's, dementia, and I remember receiving, and I asked for signs from him for Frank Sinatra and Bugs Bunny. I did not receive too many Bugs Bunny, but I received a lot of Frank Sinatra. And the thing that was interesting is I received most of them before he physically passed away. And then just the other day, I'm on YouTube and watching someone I trust, a medium I trust, and she was explaining that people who have Alzheimer's and dementia, they are more on the other side than here. They're more in the other afterlife realm, whatever you want to call it, more than they're here in the physical. And they can send you signs even when they haven't physically passed. So I'm like, oh, okay. Because I think I might have received one after he passed, but I received at least 2 before he passed. So, food for thought. If you want a sign from someone who passed, you can do that. I like to pick something that's more related to them. So, like, he liked Frank Sinatra, and he always, to us kids, he would say, yeah, what's up, Doc? That type of thing. So that's what I think of when I think of him. All right, the last one I want to share. I got it today. Well, I understood it today. Like I said, I am very oblivious sometimes for some things. So for the past week or so, I've been getting Legally Blonde, the movie, just thrown into my face randomly everywhere. I'm like, what? Why do I keep seeing Legally Blonde everywhere? Eventually, last weekend I watched it, or sometime last week I watched it, and I'm like, okay, I watched it. What? What are you trying to tell me? Because it was happening so frequently. I'm like, this is clearly a sign. I just don't know what you're trying to say. So I was brushing my teeth 20 minutes ago before I got on here and not really thinking of anything. And then suddenly, eureka moment, aha moment, like, oh, my favorite line in that movie is what? Like, it's hard? When she's talking about, like, getting, talking to her ex about getting into Harvard. It's like, not hard. And I realized I've been kind of nervous about being on YouTube and, comparing myself to others. And, like, can I really do this? And they're like, you need the energy. But the message I got today was like, you need the energy of whatever her name was, of her being like, what? Like, it's hard? It's not hard. YouTube isn't hard. None of this is hard. Just putting myself out there and getting out of my comfort zone. That can be a little difficult. But the mechanics of everything, the strategy, and all that jazz, it's not hard. And so I just really need to embody that energy. So Kind of closing out here, but the one other thing I want to bring up is confirmation bias. And that is, by definition, is the tendency to search for, interpret, favor, and recall information in a way that confirms or supports one's prior beliefs or values. And I can totally see and have experienced this myself, confirmation bias. I get a new car, right? I got my mom's old car, my Honda CR-V, and when I got it, I just kept seeing Honda CR-Vs everywhere. I'm like, because I was aware of it, right? I have a new car, I know what it is. I'm like, oh, there's my car. I think of that as confirmation bias. I know other people may think my experience with Legally Blonde may also think that is confirmation bias. And that could still be true, but you have to discern it. There's a whole level of like discernment. It's like, is this something from a higher power, or is this just confirmation bias and I can just ignore it? And you have to go with your gut. Like, another example, I don't know why it's another car example, but I see a lot of reckless driving, and a lot of times it's Jeeps. I don't know why. I see reckless drivers and they just happen to be driving a Jeep. It's confirmation bias. Like, I know that is. And then this Legally Blonde thing, it came out of nowhere. I'm like, I don't think about this movie, like, at all. And I just kept seeing it. So I guess what I'm trying to say is both can be true. You can get signs from the universe, and confirmation bias can still be true in the same universe. It's just a matter of how you interpret it, and you have to use your own instincts to determine what they are, if that makes sense. And lastly, I want to open the door for you to share your experiences. I will love to hear your experiences. I want to know everything. Paranormal, intuitive, spiritual, I want to know it all. And I want to open the gate for you, open the door and say, share it. And I want to say too, that if you do not have a spiritual experience to share, you just like, I don't have one. You kind of feel like you're not that special or whatever. I've been there, and I promise you have had experiences. You just didn't label them in that way, so you don't remember them in that way. But now that you've watched this video, Spirit, God, higher self, whatever you want to call it, is going to send you stuff. It's going to be like, hey, Karina said this. Let's show you an example of this. So be on the lookout. Be aware, self-aware, and that self-awareness takes practice to be present, which I have a problem being. Don't think about the past, don't think about the future, just be here now. And I'll probably do another video on that. But good luck, and I can't wait to hear about your experiences. Bye.